गुरुर् ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Today we begin the shlokas from Vivek Chudamani, which will help us in meditation. We did Nirvana Shatkam. Nirvana Shatkam is Adi Shankaracharya's own realization. And here in this text, he'll give us a technique and how to meditate upon that self. Vivek Chudamani, we are all familiar with. We did this text in our study class, a big text with 581 verses, and so many chapters are there in that. As the name suggests, Vivek Chudamani can be said like the crown jewel of Viveka, discrimination. In Sadhan Chatushtaya, the first qualification is Viveka. Viveka is followed by then Vairagya and then Shat Sampatti and Mumukshutva. Without Viveka, one will never come on the path of spiritual path. It is very difficult. Only when one sits back and analyzes the experiences. And then, because all of us, without exception, we all want to be happy. And then we keep seeking happiness in different places, in different objects, people, in relationship, and so on. So when we contemplate, we keep reflecting over that, we use our discriminative intellect and then find out whether really there is some joy, pleasure, or happiness there. Then our experience tells us that whatever little joy, pleasure, or happiness we did experience, it was all temporary, momentary, lasting for a few seconds, minutes, an hour or two, or a day or two, the furor goes away. And then we are back to square one. Without this viveka, but then I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I always want to be happy, but I'm seeking happiness in the external world. And then I'm not getting that permanent happiness. 24/7, every moment, I'm not in that state. So where will I get that happiness? I keep going into outside world and trying to do this experiment. Maybe this will give me some happiness, that will give me some joy, some pleasure somewhere like that. But then it all come back to nothing. Then I'm back to square one, looking for another, some ephemeral fleeting joy or pleasure in this world. This Viveka Buddhi, unless it awakens, nobody will come on the spiritual path. For anyone to come on the spiritual path, this Viveka has to be there, this discrimination has to be there. So, without this Viveka, Vairagya will not come. When Viveka comes, when we start analyzing our experiences, our past experiences, the world around us today, and what we have gone through and what we have experienced, and of course we are seeking joy, pleasure, or happiness, but then what is our experience? How long did they last? And what troubles we need to take for getting this momentary fleeting joy, pleasure, or happiness? When this Viveka comes, well, there is no joy, pleasure, or happiness in the external world. When this Viveka dawns, And that is the first step, first real step on the spiritual path. Then only Vairagya will come. Without this Viveka, Vairagya doesn't come. And Vairagya, which is sometimes called as Avesha Vairagya, suddenly, because of something, oh, I want to renounce the world and become a monk. Because of something happened. And if the situation changes, then the person is back to where he is. Now it is okay. I need not become a monk now. Situation is good now. So this Avesha Vairagya doesn't help. If it is generated, Vairagya generated through Viveka, then only it will last. So Viveka is the first step on the spiritual path. So it doesn't come easily. People may attend satsang sometimes. Sometimes they attend satsang for time pass also. If nothing else to do, then let's go and attend some satsang. Something we'll hear there, which may be of some use for our day-to-day living. So that way. So Viveka is very important. And therefore, here, Adi Shankaracharya ji composed this text, Vivek Chudamani. It's a big text with 581 shlokas. And of course, so many chapters are there in that. So, in this, he has given the importance of discriminative intellect, how to discriminate again between what is real, what is unreal, what is nitya, what is sat, what is asat, what is nitya, what is anitya, eternal and ephemeral, what is atma, what is anatma, what is self, what is not self, and so on. So, with this viveka comes vairagya, and then the pursuit starts. Once that viveka and vairagya is there, then of course the other things will follow. And then there is a mumukshutvam also, a burning desire. Now I don't want anything else. I want to realize the self, the truth. So, with that, of course, different practices are required. No doubt, the knowledge is important of the self, Brahman. But just having knowledge is not enough. Now we already know what is the truth. We know Tattvamasi, the Brahma Vakyas, we know. But that is knowing, having this knowledge objectively, parokshatvena. The paroksha jnana has to be converted into aparoksha bodha. So, having the knowledge, knowing something objectively has to be converted into subjective awareness, subjective experience, subjective awareness. So, that can come with whatever we have acquired the knowledge. Having acquired that, the process, of course, is the reflection and contemplation. Having heard Shravana Sadhana, after listening to the scriptures, then it is followed by reflection and contemplation and meditation on that. That will only result in the deeper exploration of our own self, diving deeper and deeper into our own self, consciousness. When the mind turns inwards, antarmukha, from the external wanderings, because by nature this mind is bahirmukha. So when his mind is turned to antarmukha, then only the other things will follow. The major work is turning the mind within. And that can come only after Viveka and Vairagya only, the mind can be turned within. Then the journey becomes fast. Until that Vairagya doesn't come, mind has not turned inwards, then the progress is slow. Once it has turned inwards, the progress becomes fast. Because then the external world doesn't hold of much interest to us after that. Then what is left is only contemplation, our own self. And in the past few years, we have studied several texts, and those texts has given us a guideline also, charted a path on which we can walk. We can program our sadhana, our practices, which will help us progress. Part of that is, of course, the aids to meditation, which is the 52nd chapter of Vivek Chudamani text. 52nd chapter, and it comprises of 254 to 266 verses. About 13 verses are there. Out of these 13 verses, the first 10 verses are the instructions for meditation. First 10 verses from 254 to 263. So here a suggestion is given that we should try to learn this by heart, these 10 verses for contemplation, for meditation. So then, because we have, of course, heard so many times, spirituality is not a part-time job. It is a full-time, 24 hours job. So anything we think of, the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, the speech, the actions, all have to be directed with that only. So as a seeker, we are more alert regarding what type of thoughts we entertain, what type of emotions and feelings and sentiments we entertain in our mind. We are also alert about the speech, the words we speak. They are also very important. It has got its own impression. So that is also important. And then the actions that we do, it should all reflect. As a spiritual seeker, our spirituality should reflect in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our speech, in our action, everywhere at all times. Then we are a real spiritual seeker, and not just for 10-15 minutes out of this 24 hours, we'll sit for meditation for 10-15 minutes and spirituality is over after that. Whatever mundane activities also, if when we are doing, whether it is at home or outside in the office, wherever we may be, it should play in the background always. Like in some places, you have this music being played, and people are, of course, doing their work. Nowadays, we see in big supermarkets, soft music is going on, and people are shopping also, and the staff of the supermarket, they are also working. But this music is going on. Of course, in the supermarket, the purpose of this music is different. The soft music is to lull the customer. The customer goes inside the supermarket with a shopping list and then he picks up a trolley. And then because of this soft music, his sense a little dulled. And then he starts picking up things. Oh, this has come new. Maybe I should take it. That is new. And then his trolley is all packed full. He comes to the cash counter, pays the money, takes the stuff, and then he realizes that the shopping list remained in the pocket. So the purpose of this background soft music is different in a supermarket. But in the day-to-day living as a spiritual seeker, that background has to be there. That I am a seeker, I am not this form or this name. I am seeking my own real self. Who am I? That is the purpose of life. And that background always has to be there. That music has to be always being playing in our mind all the time. And then we are a real seeker, a sincere seeker. And anything we see, we hear, because when we move around, we can't live in a cave or in isolation. We are living in the samsara. We have to interact with the people. We have to do our duties also. We have to work and move around. It doesn't matter. But whatever we see around, the activities, whatever we hear, we see, and all that thing. So we have to relate it to what is real and what is unreal. Whether we should take these things seriously. Earlier, of course, we may be affected by what we see and what we hear and things like that. But as we go deeper and deeper into our spiritual study and practice, then we can stand apart and be a witness to whatever is happening. Not only in the external world, but also within ourselves, within our body, within our senses, our mind, and intellect. So we can start being a witness. That is the first step as a seeker. Because earlier, of course, we used to get carried away by whatever we see, whatever we hear, and all that thing. So now, when we start becoming a witness, we treat our body also as an entity, like an instrument that is at our disposal to use it. for certain purpose. Like we have so many other instruments also. We have a computer, we have watch, we have cell phone, and so many instruments we use in our day-to-day life. Similarly, this body, the sense organs, pranas, mind and intellect, they are also instruments at our disposal with which we deal with the world around us, as well as we have to use these instruments on a spiritual path also. The body has to be used for a steady posture for meditation. The pranas help us in making the mind single pointed. So with the practice of pranayam, that will also be helpful. So all these we have to utilize as instruments for the sole purpose of knowing the self, realizing the self rather. So with this small introduction, now in Nirvana Shatkam, of course, we saw what Adi Shankaracharya ji, from his realization, he said. First five shlokas was on what he realized, what he is not. And then his assertion in the last shloka, last verse, the sixth verse in Nirvana Shatkam, his assertion of what he is. So here in these meditative verses, again, he goes to the same process, how to go about contemplation. As we have seen earlier also, Vedanta is all about learning to unlearn. For millions of lives, we have learned a lot of things. In this present life also, we have learned a lot of things, and they are all related to the form, to this body. If this body is not there, most of them will not apply to us. So it is related to the body, and whatever conditionings we have superimposed on this body, those conditionings could have been different also, in different situation, different place, taking form in a different place, in a different family. The conditionings would change. So beyond the conditionings, who am I? So here also Adi Shankaracharya ji discusses the conditionings. Because of these conditionings, we are so carried away by these conditionings, we are so firmly attached to these conditionings that we can't think beyond that. I'm so and so, my name is so and so, I'm born in this family, I follow this religion, I belong to this creed and this, that, and all that thing. But we are so bound by that, and then we can't imagine or we can't think anything else beyond that. We have to just break free from those kind of bondages, those kind of conditionings that we have applied on ourselves unnecessarily. As a seeker, we need to break through that. In the 254th verse, this is exactly what Adi Shankaracharya tells us. In the very first verse on aids to meditation, what he says here is Jati niti kula gotra duragam nama rupa guna dosha varjitam देश काल विषयातिवर्ति यत् ब्रह्म तत्वमसि भावयात्मनि. So jati niti kula gotra duragam nama rupa guna dosha varjitam desha kala vishaya yati ati vartiyat brahma tattvamasi bhavaya. So this Brahman, the instruction is that Brahman you are tattvamasi, Brahma tat, that Brahman you are tattvamasi bhavaya. Now these are all the conditionings that we have put on ourselves since birth. Some things have been told by the family, some things we have gathered along the way, and then we we then design or form our identity according to that. So who are you? And then the name, profession, caste, creed, religion, this, that, and all that thing. We are so used to it. So here now, Adi Shankaracharya says, Jati Niti Kula Gotra Duraga. Jati. Now, Jati here, in many places, Jati is translated as caste. But caste is, the real word in Sanskrit is Varna for the caste. Jati also means species. Different species of animals, different species of plant. What jati of plant is this? What jati of organism is this? And so on. So jati also means in the animal kingdom, plant kingdom, different species. And the caste is basically the varna. So jati, niti, creed, kula, family, gotra, lineage. So when our form is born, so automatically these things will apply. Okay, which varna, which caste he belongs to, which creed he belongs to. Of course, according to the family, the form was born. And then it is not that, okay, we are born and then we grow up and then we move around and then we choose what jati, what niti, what kula, what gotra, what. No, no. That comes with the birth. And then we are fed also that information. We don't know as a child is innocent. A baby is innocent. Baby doesn't know anything. And whatever is fed to the baby, then that is accepted. Okay, I belong to this varna, this creed, this religion, this family, this lineage, and so on. So we can't have any of these without the gross body. If this gross physical body is not there, then we don't have any of these. And the moment we drop the body also, then that which was associated with the body disappears. So a particular form was there, a name was given to the form, and then the description was given, this form belongs to which varna and which creed and all that thing. So now that Brahman, which is our own self, Adi Shankaracharya says here, Jati Niti Kula Gotra Duragam. It is far from the pure self, Brahma Tattva, Brahman. It has got nothing to do with that self. This was so-called superimposed at birth itself. And then as you start growing up, then we are told you belong to this varna, this creed, this religion, this community, this family, this is your lineage, and so on. So the label is attached. And then we hold on to that label. We are unable to get out of those labelings. So many labels we have attached to ourselves that if we are told to get rid of those labels, we feel a little uncomfortable. What will happen to my identity if I don't have these labels? We identify with those things, and without those labels, we will feel as if we are lost. We have no identity or something like that. So here, that pure self, which is our real nature, real self, that Brahman, Tattvamasi, that is what is said, that is what we are. That doesn't have any of these. This is our real thing. And yet we want to hang on to the labels that was applied to us right from birth. We feel at a loss. If I give up these labels, what will happen to my identity? What is our real identity? That is Brahma Tattvamasi. That is our real identity. And that doesn't have these kind of useless labels. But then we have viewed for millions of lives, and every birth we have attached this, put these labels on ourselves, different kinds of labels. And we hung on to that label very steadily, very steadfast in hanging on to those labels. We don't want to get rid of that. I can't get rid of that. What will happen to my identity? So, Duragam, it has got nothing to do with us. Jati, Niti, Kula, Gotra, Duragam. And this is only because this form is there, physical form is there, only then this will apply. Otherwise, it will not apply. There is no need for that. Then, Nama Rupa Guna Dosha Varjitam. Now that our real self doesn't have any name, any form. Nama Rupa Guna Dosha, nor any qualities, good or bad qualities, or merit or demerit. Nama Rupa Guna Dosha Varjita. It is without all this. It has got no place. So we have a form. We have taken a form. We have a form. Now our real self is formless. Formless and nameless also. Because there are no qualities, attributes. So our real self is formless, attributeless. So that which is formless and attributeless, it can't be even named. Generally, name is given to a thing according to its size, its color, its quality, and so on. Based on that, only a name is given to some, whether it is a living being or even an inanimate object or things like that, depending upon that. So many factors are there. So size is seen, quality is seen, color is seen, and so on. So now that which is formless, which is attributeless, no color or anything like that, it can't even be named. Such an entity will not even have name. So therefore, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya says, Nama Rupa. So there is no name. When there is no Rupa, there are no qualities, no attributes. Such an entity can't even be named. For name, some qualities required. Some objects are named according to the color. That is called as Narangi. So Narangi is a color also, and then according to that, the object is also called, the thing is called Narangi. Some things are according to the shape or according to specific quality, the names are given. That is what it is. So now if there is no form and no quality, there is no question of any name also. So even this Brahma also is only a working name. It doesn't mean that that pure self is named Brahman. So it is only a working name, because we can't say that we are talking about that, we are talking about that. What? So this is a working name, Brahman. Now Brahman also, in some places they say, Brihati iti Brahma. Brihati iti Brahma, that which cannot be defined or expressed in words. The Brihati iti Brahma. So therefore, it cannot be named also. And it is said that whatever we may think of that, it is beyond that. So that is why Brihati. So it goes beyond even that. So we may think that it is formless. So that is what we could go to. Okay, so this entity is formless. So that is what we have thought of. Then it will come that it is beyond form, not only formless, but it is something more. It is beyond that also, and beyond that also. Whatever you may think of it being there, it will go beyond that. So temporarily, as a working name, this Brahman is used for the pure self or the absolute truth. So this is used for Nama Rupa Guna Dosha Varjitam. No, there is no guna or dosha. There is no merit or demerit. There are no attributes itself. So whether good or bad, the question doesn't arise when it is attributeless. It is nirguna. It is nirakara, formless, and nirguna, attributeless. So when these two are there, formless and attributeless, automatically it becomes nameless. It can't even be named. So nama rupa guna dosha varjitam. Then desha kala vishayati vartiyat. Desha kala vishaya. Desha space, kala time, vishaya objects. Desha kala vishayati vartiyat. So that which is beyond the limitations of space and time, and also limitations of object, not limited by any object external or anything like that, beyond the limitations of object. So even the limitations of causation also, the question of causation for that. So now with our mind and the sense organs, we see things and beings, inanimate objects as well as living beings we see around us in this world around us. And then those forms, and they are there in the space also, and all those are limited by space and time. Even when we look at our own body, Sakshi Bhava to our own body, the body also has got limitation of space and time. Now here when it is said, it is beyond the limitations of space and time, then definitely I am not this body, because body is limited by space and time. So I can't be this body, that for sure, that is for sure. And then, so space and time, Desha Kala and Vishaya, not limited by objects around. Not only when we are identified with this body, we are limited by space and time, we are limited by other forms also, living or non-living, we are limited by them also. So there is a limitation. Now here Adi Shankaracharya says that pure self, that Brahman, that pure self which is our essential nature, so that is beyond the limitations of space, time and objects. So we are not limited. Our real self is not limited by space. Of course, the form that we are having now, that is limited by space. That is limited by time also. It was created in some time. It will be destroyed in some time. But then that is not what we are in reality. So the presence or absence of this body should not affect our existence. Desha kala vishayati vatiyat brahma tattvamasi bhavaya. So here, this is a beautiful verse to start with, to contemplate for meditation, the first verse. So this is regarding all the qualities that we are associated ourselves with. Actually, this is directly with the form and the labels we have put this, or superimposed on ourselves regarding various things, religion or whatever it is. So the thing is, whoever we may be, wherever we may have been born, on any corner of this earth, in any family, irrespective of which part of the world we are, which corner of this world we are, where we were born, which family we were born, what religion it belonged to, what creed, what caste, so to say, followed, what lineage and gotra and all that thing, irrespective of what religion we may belong to, whether it is Sanatan Dharma or Buddhism or Jainism or Christianity or Islam or Judaism, it doesn't matter. These are all the external labelings. And that entity without all these labels, the superimpositions, what remains is that pure Brahman only, irrespective of where we are born. So these labelings, the superimposition, and then we very strictly guard that, oh, I am so and so, I belong to this community, this caste, this religion, this Christianity, all that thing. But the bottom line is what? In spirituality, we have to understand one thing very clearly. What is the bottom line? Bottom line is, we may belong to any religion, any caste, creed, nationality, race, any corner of the world, wherever we may be. The common factor is what? Irrespective of whatever caste, creed, religion we may belong to, race or nationality we may belong to, whichever part of the world we may belong to, one thing is very common. All of us, without exception, want to be happy. Irrespective of where we are born, which religion we follow, whatever it may be. All of us, without exception, want to be happy always 24/7. That is the common factor for everything. It is not that just because somebody is born in a particular religion, so they don't want to be happy. No. whatever it may be, happiness is at the bottom. I want to be happy. Wherever I am, whatever I am, 24/7, every moment I want to be happy. And that each and every one of us, irrespective of other conditionings, that is a common factor. So that is the first step that we understand. Then only if this is the common factor, all of us want to be happy without exception. So that is the common ground, irrespective of what religion we may belong to, what community, what creed, what caste, what family, what race, what nationality, it doesn't matter. I want to be happy. That's it. So this is an important factor that kind of unites the entire population. Everybody wants to be happy. Can anybody say, belonging to any religion, any part of the world, say that, no, I don't want to be happy? No, absolutely not. That is the bottom line. And then whatever needs to be done, and happiness we don't want. It is like momentary happiness or for a few minutes or an hour or two or a day or two days before. It is 24/7 every moment. Each and every one of us without exception. Only those who are on the spiritual path, they know they are seeking infinite happiness, but not in the finite world. They knowingly, they are seeking infinite happiness by realizing the self, very few. And most of other people, most of us, unknowingly we are seeking infinite happiness, but in the finite world. An impossible thing. So what unites all of us is that all of us without exception, we are seeking happiness. We want to be happy. That's it. That is the bottom line. So this is a very good shloka to meditate upon. Now these coming 10 shlokas, different aspects Adi Shankaracharya will be dealing with. So he has started with the what you call the gross conditionings. So getting rid of gross conditionings, external conditioning, the labelings, it starts in the first shloka itself. Then there are other things also at a subtler level. Those also we need to get rid of. So having said this in the 254th shloka, the first shloka of this 8th meditation, we move on to the, now here, one important thing is there. We don't know what time the body will drop off. Like it is said, this Kala Sarpa. I must have told you this experience I had, the event I had when I was in Sandipani. In Sandipani, in Powai, there is a Shiva temple is there, Jagdishwara temple is there. So there are plenty of snakes also there. So once when I was returning from the temple, between the two hostel building, some space was there. And I saw a snake which was swallowing a lizard, big lizard. So only its head and two hands were out. The rest of the body was inside the snake's mouth. So I was observing that for some time, and what I found funny was this lizard, which is being swallowed by the snake, whose head is out and two forelimbs are out, some fly or something went from its front. It is trying to swallow that, putting out its tongue to swallow that. Now, this lizard, I don't know how long it will last. Within a few moments, it will be inside the stomach of that snake. But while this thing is moving, some insect is moving in front of it, it is trying to swallow that. Same thing is in Kala Sarpa. How much that Kala Sarpa has followed us, we don't know. And how much time we have in this form, we don't know. So there has to be an earnestness in the practice, in the study of the scriptures as well as its practice. What happens, we are not bothered about it, but our sankalpa should be very strong. We don't want to take form ever again, because this is a big problem. Taking the form is a big problem. So we don't want to. So there has to be an earnestness, an urgency. There has to be. So this is what here Adi Shankaracharya also emphasizes, that that urgency has to be there. And that sincere practice, study and practice also has to be there. That will help us. Now, having said this in the 254th verse, then in the 255th verse, Yat Param Sakalava Sakalavag Gocharam Gocharam Vimalabodha Chakshushaha Shuddha Chidghanamadadi Vastu Yat Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani Yat Param Sakalavag Gocharam Gocharam Vimalabodha Chakshushaha Shuddha Chidghanam Anadi Vastuyat Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayat. So now, what is this Brahma which you are? That is what the instruction Adi Shankaracharya is giving us. You are that Brahman. And what is that? Yat Param Sakala Vaga Gochara. Yat Param. So, this is the, now whatever was given in the previous verse. So, that which is the substratum of all the dualities given in the previous verse, in the last verse, is beyond all and can't be expressed by speech. So whatever was given in the last verse about the external conditionings, Jati, Niti, Kula, Gotra, and then Nama, Rupa, Guna, Dosha, and all that thing, the external conditionings, the substratum of that external conditionings, Brahman, is beyond the expression of speech. Yat Param Sakala Vaga Gocharam. Therefore, Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi insisted on silence. He used to always say silence is the highest teaching. In the silence only realize the self. Because there is no thoughts, no objects, nothing else. So it is beyond the speech. Yat param sakala vaga gocharam. Now, beyond any speech, because speech has got its own limitations. This, of course, we have seen earlier. It is just a repetition now. What can be expressed in speech and what cannot be expressed in speech. Even mundane experience of this world around us, our sensory perceptions and things like that, there are so many things which cannot be expressed in words. What to talk about that subtlest of all, pure self, what to talk about it. Even mundane day-to-day experiences also, many of those are there which cannot be expressed in words. Like the often quoted example is that when the disciples asked the master, what is that absolute truth? And the master always remains silent. And when one day he opened his, but of course disciples will not live, they'll keep asking. So one day when he opened his mouth, they thought, oh, today we'll get the answer. So instead of getting the answer, they were counter questioned. Have you seen a rose flower? Yes, everybody says, yes, we have seen it. Can you describe the rose flower? Yes, everybody said we can describe the rose flower. Okay. Have you smelt a rose flower? Yes. We have smelled the rose flowers. Now describe in words the rose fragrance. This is mundane sensory experience in the day-to-day life. Rose fragrance. How do we describe it in words? Oh, it is very fragrant. Fragrant like what? Is it fragrant like jasmine flower? No, no, not like that. Or like mogra or lily or some other flowers. No, 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 no. This is a distinct one. What exactly it is? Can you describe in words? Then the disciples go into silence. Then they are told that this is how I also go into silence. Now you can't describe something which you have already experienced. You know the rose fragrance, you have experienced it, but you can't describe it in words. Similarly, you ask me, I go into silence like just now we have gone into silence when I asked you to describe the fragrance of the rose flower. So at the most, what we can say is that, look here, it is difficult for me to describe the rose fragrance. There in the garden, there is a rose plant is there. You see the flower. You be careful about the thorns on that. You smell that flower and whatever fragrance you get, that is the rose fragrance. Another example is what? Somebody who has never tasted sweet in his life. So if we have to describe sweetness, not any particular sweet dish, sweetness, what sweetness is? This person has only tasted sour, salty, spicy, bitter, pungent, astringent, but never sweet. Now, we have to describe sweetness with what is this sweet thing? Sweet is it's very delicious. Delicious like what? Like a bitter gourd, like a chili, like salt, like lemon. No, 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 no. This is something absolutely different. It is this sweetness is very delicious. What can you put into words? Then you say, okay, you see in the kitchen there is a bottle there, and you see some white crystals in that. You take a spoon and put in your mouth. The taste that you get, that is sweetness. So this everyday mundane experiences cannot be described in words. What to talk about that which is beyond the speech, beyond the form, beyond the attributes, beyond the name, subtlest of all. How can it be put into words? So, yat param sakala vaga gocharam. So, it is beyond any speech. See, now in the 254th shloka, the 8th to meditation, the first shloka, he gave the gross conditionings. Contemplating on that, Brahman is other than that. Now, Adi Shankaracharya is given coming at the subtler levels, beyond the speech. Gocharam Vimala Bodha Chakshushaha. Now, Gocharam. So, speech, it is beyond speech. Speech cannot describe it. It is beyond words. So, now, how can it be comprehended? Gocharam Vimala Bodha Chakshushaha. Vimala Bodha Chakshushaha. Gocharam. So, Vimala is without any blemish. Without any mala, without any blemish. Vimala Bodha. Bodha, pure awareness. Chakshushaha. The vision of pure awareness. Or we can say Jnana Chakshu, technically. Jnana Chakshu. Because they are, in scriptures, they are described Charma Chakshu and Jnana Chakshu. With Charma Chakshu, we can see the gross physical world around us. But Jnana Chakshu is required to perceive, to realize the self. So here, Gocharam. So it is available to the Jnana Chakshu, that vision, pure vision, which is devoid of any duality. Devoid of any duality means it is objectless, thought-free. So such a Jnana Chakshu, Vimala Bodha Chakshu, Bodha, pure awareness, the vision of pure awareness, devoid of any duality. So this Vimala Bodha Chakshushu, Shuddha Chit Ghanam. Anadi Vastuyat. So here it is beyond speech, no doubt. Vimala Bodha Chakshufu. But it can be perceived, comprehended by the Jnana Chakshu, the vision, pure awareness, which is thought-free, objectless and thought-free. And then Shuddha Chid Ghanam. Shuddha Chid Ghanam. Ghanam means dense. It is the homogeneous mass of consciousness. Shuddha, pure, homogeneous mass of pure awareness. Homogeneous mass of pure awareness. Pure awareness. Awareness of what? No. Not any object or thought. It is objectless and thought-free. So pure, blissful awareness, which is objectless and thought-free. Shuddha Ghana. Anadi Vastu Yat. Anadi. Anadi, beginningless. So, beginningless, Anadi means it is beyond the limitations of time. This we have seen so many times, beyond the limitations of time. If you look around, everything is bound by time, limited by time. It was created in time. That which is created in time is subject to destruction in time. That which is not created in time is beyond time, and therefore it is not subject to destruction in time and not limited by time. So here that Brahman is Anadi Vastu, is beginningless, not limited by time. So not limited by time means it is also not limited by space or any objects, because other than that pure self, nothing else exists. So other than that pure self is of course subject to the limitations of time, space, objects and causation. So therefore, here Adi Shankaracharya tells us that Brahman, which is beyond speech, which can be realized through the pure knowledge of the self, pure awareness, which is of course objectless and thought-free, and which is also not limited by time, time, space, object, or anything like that. So that Brahman, Bhavayatma, meditate that within you, continuously meditate on that. Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Now, these two shlokas, first was gross, then we are coming to the subtler aspects. Now we go further. In the 256th shloka, the third shloka in this aids to meditation, here Adi Shankaracharya says, Shadbhirurbhir yogi yogirat bhavitam na karanair vibhavitam Udhyavedyamanavadyamasti yad brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani Shadbhihi urmi bhirayogi yogirut bhihi ayogi yogirut bhavitam na karanaihi vibhavitam buddhi avedhyam anavadhyam asti yat brahma tattvamasi bhavayat. So now Shadbhihi urmi. What is this Shadbhi urmi? All organisms are afflicted by the Shadbhi urmi. So the three koshas that we have this Pancha Kosha, Annamay, Pranamay, Manomay, Vijnanamay, and Anandamaya kosha. Out of these three, out of these five, this Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya kosha, these three koshas, they are afflicted by 6 types of afflictions. Shadbihi Urmi. So what are these Urmi? Now, at the subtlest level, at the level of the mind, the two Urmis that it is affected with is Moha, is Shoka and Moha. Shoka regarding with associated with the past. And of course, Shoka also here is the aversion for all those things and beings that produce sorrow, misery, or pain in our life. So that is according to our past experience only. So Shoka is of course associated with the past. And Moha, Moha or fascination, which is associated with the future. These are the two urmis of the mind, the Manomaya kosha. Then comes Pranamaya kosha. The two urmis of the Pranamaya kosha, they are the hunger and thirst. So these are the two urmis of the Pranamaya kosha. And the last, Annamaya kosha. The two urmis of the Annamaya kosha is old age and death. So all organisms, they suffer from this, the 6 urmis related to the Manomaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, and Annamaya kosha. So Shad bihi, urmihi, bihi, ayogi, yogarut, ayogi. Ayogi means these are not associated with that Brahman, which is a pure self, ayogi, not associated with that. It is alipta. It is unattached. It has got nothing to do with that. It is untouched by the Shadbihi, not touched by these 6 urmis. This pure Brahman, that is our own self. So, Shadbihi, urmihi, bihi, ayogi, ayogi, untouched by that. Yogi Hrud, and the yogi, the seeker in his own heart, he has to meditate on that again, that these are not the modifications of that pure self. So, further on this shloka, we'll discuss in our next session. Now, if anybody has got any questions, they may ask.
Prakash, Prakash, any question?
No, I'm fine.
Nalini, Shama, Vishuben, you are keeping silent always. Vishuben, can you hear me?
Yes, Pankaj bhai.
Any question?
No, good.
Okay, Swamiji.
Yes. So,
Since
no
morning,
questions.
yeah, since morning,
Hmm.
one question was not leaving me.
Uh-huh.
Huh. And I thought that I'll ask you today.
Okay.
The same question was raised 6 years back
Uh-huh.
by late Satyam Badai.
Mm-hmm.
That question was, is God active or passive?
Is God active or passive?
Passive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm adding, is he neutral?
Mm-hmm.
Now, after listening to today's your explanation, particularly stroke number 255 and 256,
Hmm.
has silenced this question.
Yes.
Yeah. So, mine is going to what I understand and what I learned today.
Hmm.
That even in the pursuit of your spirituality,
Hmm.
many questions that will come.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, such questions to a person who is pursuing the spirituality. uh, but instead of swayed away by these questions, as mentioned here in particularly in 255 and 256, best thing is to turn inward,
Yes.
go beyond body, mind, speech, and everything, and touch the core of your real self, because that is the place where we'll silence our mind, all the questions from mind. But
Yes.
real answer to our questions that are going to come is this is the place. As Raman Maharshi says that concentrate on your heart. But still, Swamiji, I have not realized myself. But I would like to know your explanation. God, one who has got external, or is a bhakta, the God is with the form. And for us who are following, Swamiji, 1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah. And we are who are following this Advait philosophy, the self or the pure consciousness is ultimate. Uh, is the self really that there is a call from Swamiji Bharti Kohli. I don't know why. And let me decline that. 1 minute. Okay, sorry. When we seek the help of the God or say self, he answers that. Then who answers that if he is neutral, not active but passive? Who answers that? That is the question. That is the question, Swami.
See, there are several things to that. As regards this God is concerned and our Shraddha in God is concerned, forget about God at the moment. As regards Shraddha is concerned, Shraddha in Vedanta is temporary. Understand that very clearly. Shraddha is there in Vedanta also, but it is temporary. It is there in Sadhan Chatushtaya also, in that Vivek Vairagya Shat Sampatti, Shraddha is there. But Shraddha, according to Vedanta, is temporary in the sense that we keep Shraddha in something which we do not know now, so that we know it. And then once we know it, then it is not the question of any Shraddha. Then it is our direct subjective experience, our direct subjective knowledge. Like now, we don't say that I have Shraddha in the law of gravity. It is our experience. We jump up, we will come down only. We will not be stuck in up in the space. No, we will come down. So, in school, we studied different planets. We studied in school. Pluto and Saturn with the ring around it and Jupiter and all that. So now, when we studied that, we have actually not seen those planets. But we kept Shraddha in the astronomer, astro scientist, or whoever it may be, who discovered that through the telescope. He observed the space and then he discovered and he described it. And that is in our science text in our school, it was given. So we kept Shraddha and accepted that, okay, there is a planet called Saturn, it has got ring. So it is based on our Shraddha. We do not know for sure because we have not seen ourselves. Then we go to a planetarium and there they have a telescope and we observe the space at night with the telescope. And then there is a guide, he says that now you see through this telescope and you can see that planet Saturn with the ring around it. Now, once we see that, then it is not a question of our Shraddha in the astronomer or the scientist who discovered that by looking through the telescope. Now it is our direct subjective knowledge. We know it for sure. Do you have Shraddha in that Saturn? No, I have actually seen it. Through the telescope, I have seen it. I know it. There is no question of Shraddha there. So Shraddha is always temporary. Once we have that knowledge, then it is not a question of Shraddha. Then it is our direct subjective awareness, our own knowledge, and so on. As regards, we have so many questions, and here in this shloka, we are that absolute truth, Brahman. So, that if we are that, which God we will go to? Without questions. Now, the manifestation of Guru also, in our life, Gurus will come. Some will guide us in unmanifest form, and some will come in our lives in the manifest form. But we'll keep getting guidance. Nobody is in this world without a master, either manifest or unmanifest. Well, many of them don't have manifest guru, but they are guided by the unmanifest one. And ultimately, our own Atmaram is our guru. This has to be understood very clearly. Our own Atmaram is our guru, and in these two shloka, it is very clear, Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatman. What is this Brahman and what is God? Are they two entities, this Brahma Tattvamasi? Brahman and God, are they two different entities or it is the same? And if it is the same, what Adi Shankaracharya is saying is that Tattvamasi, that Brahman you are. So, all the questions are in the realm of ignorance only. As we progress, the question slowly starts reducing and reducing. As we go into this studies of the scriptures, I remember very well when I was in Sandipani more than 30 years ago, and the very first day our Acharya, Swami Anubhavananji, is our Sandipani Acharya. So the very first day, he told us, whatever you listen today, today's talks, today's discourse on the scriptures, whatever you listen today, of course, you will have some doubts, some questions will arise in your mind. After every discourse, don't rush to my kutia with the list of questions. Because most of the time, when you continue listening, the next discourse and the next and the next, the answer to those doubts will start clearing up. So only come to my kutia after 2 years of thorough study of the scriptures. If you still have any questions, then only you come to my kutia, not otherwise. And after 2 years of intense study of the scriptures, none of us went to his kutia with any question. So when we are listening, the questions keep coming up. And of course, when we continue our study, many of the questions get answered in the next talk, in the next discourse, in the next text, and so on it goes. Like that. So now, in these two shlokas, Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. So now, where does your question go?
Keep the silence. Yes, that is what I said, Swamiji.
Yeah. So this will keep coming and your Atmaram will answer that. Your Atmaram is the ultimate guru. And it will come from within as we die. And therefore, as we progress on the spiritual path, as we reach subtler and subtler levels, then the questions also starts declining. And many a times, we get the answer ourselves. When we are contemplating on the higher reality, when we are in meditation, many a times we get answer ourselves within us without any problem, without asking anybody or anything like that. Many of them, the answers come to us. Like from just it appears. Like many rishis in deep meditation, they had the revelations of Upanishads. It came to them, they didn't claim any authorship to that. Therefore, Vedas are apaurushaya, there is no author to that. The revelations came, and to us also revelations will come. It will keep coming. When we are in deep meditation, also revelations will keep coming. And our doubts also will start getting cleared according to that. You see, out of nowhere, you had one doubt and you sit in meditation and out of nowhere it will flash. The revelation will come up. I was just thinking about it. I was having this doubt. Now it has all cleared. It will come. Because all knowledge exists at all times, it have existed. Nothing new is there in the entire existence. Everything is there first only. Only when we fine tune our mind, we tap into that knowledge. It is like this. Radio is there when you fine tune the station. We want BBC London, we want All India Radio, whatever it is, we fine tune it and we get into that. Similarly, all the knowledge is there always there. Whether we are a spiritual seeker or we are seeking some worldly knowledge, whatever it may be, when we fine tune our mind, we tap into that knowledge. Like Albert Einstein once said that whatever worthwhile discoveries or inventions I did, it didn't come through the usual process of thinking. When his mind was attuned to that particular subject, it tapped into that knowledge. And that is how the came. So that is what Albert Einstein said. This is exactly what our Rishimunis also, they got revelation. In their deep state of meditation, they got revelation. And that is how these Upanishads all came, and they told these Upanishads to their disciples. And they did claim the authorship. I am the author. The revelation came. They didn't sit under a tree and start composing an Upanishad. No. It is all revelation. Therefore, Vedas are apaurushaya, not written by any particular person or things like that, because they are subtle knowledge. It can come only as a revelation. But it is good that we have those revelations that came in the form of books. They are available to us today. That will also help us a lot. So as we go deeper and deeper into our own self, the confusions will go away. The questions will start reducing. And one day there will be no question.
Swamiji, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Swamiji. Really, in last 6 years, every year you have taken us to a different level. And each level, when we cross it, when we look back, we feel that we are going nearer and nearer to the self.
We are that alone, but yes, we, in the sense that because of our learning something wrong, we have, so to say, away from it. But just when we unlearn that, we'll be with that only.
Thank you very much, sir.
Shall we conclude?
Yes, Swamiji.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.